Togo and Russia, two worlds that seem completely different, yet they share a curious common thread, a beauty born from contrast and cultural depth. From the rainforests of Africa to the snowy plains of Siberia, from ancient rituals to cutting-edge technology, both tell stories that spark our deepest curiosity. Are you ready to explore? Togo, a fascinating world, hidden behind a tiny size. Togo is a country that could easily be overlooked when glancing at a map of Africa, thanks to its modest size and its location wedged between two larger neighbors, Ghana and Benin. But don't judge Togo by its area of less than 57,000 square kilometers. Its smallness is merely a shell concealing a world bursting with colors. A land where wild nature, diverse indigenous cultures, and untold mysteries converge. What makes Togo stand out isn't towering skyscrapers or world-famous landmarks, but its authenticity, untouched wilderness, and rich cultural identity. This is a place not just to sightsee, but to truly feel the spirit of a nation that remains intact, unshaped by mass tourism or industrial homogenization. Togo is a destination for those passionate about discovering the unknown, for souls yearning for authenticity and difference. If you've ever wanted to disappear off the grid without giving up Wi-Fi completely, maybe it's time to add Togo to your travel list. Deal? Togo's nature, a vertical tapestry of landscapes. Geographically, Togo is like a vertical cross-section of nature compressed into a slender nation. Traveling from south to north feels like flipping through the pages of Earth's storybook, each region boasting its own climate, ecosystem, and spirit. In the south, Togo borders the Gulf of Guinea, where golden beaches stretch under the tropical sun. The capital, Lomé, sits here as both the administrative hub and a window to the modern world, a lively blend of Western influences and African tradition. Leaving the city behind, the heart of the country is wrapped in dense rainforest, a land lush with greenery, birdsong, and the scent of damp earth. Nature here remains untamed, casting a spell of wild enchantment. The forest-dwelling communities seem one with the ecosystem, deeply connected to the land, the waters, and ancient rituals. Farther north, the terrain transforms. Dry plateaus rise with red earth, strong winds, and imposing mountain ranges, including Table Mountain, a symbol of resilience and serenity. Here, the landscape grows bold and dramatic, mirroring the spirit of the northern people, tough, independent, and full of grit. Cultural mosaic, 40-plus ethnic groups in harmony. One of Togo's most unique traits is its ethnic composition. More than 40 ethnic groups reside here, each with distinct languages, belief systems, customs, and ways of life. Instead of creating conflict, this diversity blends into a vibrant symphony. Each group is a musical note, a distinct rhythm in the greater harmony called Togo. The Iwe people in the south are famed for weaving radiant kente cloth, a symbol of pride and power. In the north, the Kabi people hold initiation rites marked by physical endurance, rites of passage that shape boys into men. Spiritual beliefs also play a profound role in shaping daily life. In Togo, Christianity, Islam, and indigenous faiths don't cancel each other out. They coexist like parallel streams, occasionally merging in festivals or communal ceremonies. Villages where ancestral altars sit beside crucifixes are a striking testament to religious tolerance and flexibility. Togo's culture doesn't dwell only in the past. It's evolving. Today's youth aren't abandoning tradition, they're reimagining it. From fashion designers showcasing indigenous patterns on European runways, to musicians blending traditional drums with electronic beats, Togo is writing a new chapter where the past and present exist side by side in mutual respect. Polygamy, marriage as status and duty. In Togo, polygamy is not merely a relic of tradition, it is legally recognized and still plays a significant role in modern life, particularly in rural areas. Unlike the Western ideal of marriage, often defined by the bond between two individuals, polygamy in Togo symbolizes a man's ability to provide, his standing, and his influence within the community. Having multiple wives is not just about personal preference or romantic choice. It represents a substantial responsibility, a commitment to support, protect, and ensure stability for an extended family. In Togolese society, it's a way for a man to prove he can be a true pillar, not just for one household, but for a collective spanning generations. Surprisingly, relationships among co-wives are often less strained than outsiders might imagine. In many cases, they live harmoniously, supporting each other with housework, child-rearing, and emotional companionship. The wives operate within a well-defined structure. Those who arrived earlier typically hold seniority, not in a domineering way, but as guiding figures who share and lead. Thus, polygamy in Togo is both a manifestation of tradition and a reflection of the society's enduring model of communal life and family interconnectedness, beyond individual boundaries. Tradition and unity, the heart of Togolese society. If one were to pinpoint the core value defining Togolese culture, it would be the spirit of community, a principle woven into daily life and sacred rituals alike. In Togolese society, individuals do not exist in isolation, but are intrinsically linked to family, clan, and village. Everything is done collectively, from building houses and harvesting crops to celebrating festivals and holding funerals. Traditional ceremonies are not merely religious or cultural formalities. They serve as social bridges where communities gather, strengthen bonds, and reaffirm each person's role within the group. From weddings and coming-of-age rites to naming ceremonies and funerals, every event carries deep social meaning. One striking example is the Kabi coming-of-age ritual featuring the Evale Wrestling Challenge, where young men must compete publicly in hand-to-hand combat before the community. Amid the rhythmic beats of traditional drums and the cheers of onlookers, these bouts are not just displays of strength, but affirmations of honor and maturity. Those who succeed are recognized as adults, qualified to participate in the village's important decisions. Though Togo evolves with the times, these rituals and communal values remain steadfast pillars, preserving the bonds between people and their cultural roots. People and cuisine, a nation's soul in every bite and smile. If there is one thing that lingers most deeply after leaving Togo, it might not be the scenery or the architecture, but the genuine smile of its people. Togolese embrace a slower, more intentional way of living. They don't rush to match the tempo of globalization, instead choosing to stay close to nature and community. In their eyes, in their gestures, even strangers can feel a warm, understated hospitality, as if you're not a tourist, but a long-lost relative returning home. This spirit extends into their food. Togolese cuisine may not be elaborate in appearance, but it is rich in identity and emotion. Traditional dishes like fufu, a smooth, pounded mash made from cassava or yam, are more than nourishment. They're symbols of togetherness. Preparing and eating fufu together, by hand, from a shared bowl, is a ritual that bonds generations. Other local specialties like creamy peanut sauces, savory dried fish, and dense maize dough called akume showcase the ingenuity of turning humble local ingredients into cherished flavors. A meal in Togo is not just about satiety, it's about connection, between people and the land that sustains them. Who's ready to share a bowl of fufu with strangers who'll treat you like family? Just don't eat faster than grandma. Travel in Togo, where untouched turns magical. Togo doesn't follow the typical standards of modern tourism. There are no luxury resorts or bustling shopping centers, and yet that's precisely what makes it the perfect destination for those looking to escape the world and rediscover raw beauty and mysteries untouched by civilization. The journey often begins in the coastal capital of Lomé, a city painted in contrasts between modern life and ancient rituals. The fetish market here is an unmissable experience, where one encounters an array of spiritual objects, animal skulls, voodoo charms, medicinal herbs, not displayed for shock value, but rooted in a deep belief in the connection between humans and the invisible world. From Lomé, travelers can head to Palamé, a region bursting with natural wonders, including cascading waterfalls, lush rainforests, and idyllic villages nestled at the foot of the mountains. This area is not only visually stunning, but also rich in artisanal heritage, with intricate wood carvings and traditional crafts playing a prominent role in local life. Farther north lies Kutamaku, the homeland of the Batamariba people, known for one of Africa's most remarkable architectural styles: tall earthen tower houses that serve both as homes and sacred ritual spaces. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is recognized not just for its visual uniqueness, but for embodying a sustainable way of living, where architecture harmonizes with the environment and spiritual traditions. Togo isn't for those chasing quick photo ops, but for travelers willing to slow down, open their hearts, and delve into the hidden corners of nature and culture. Togo reveals itself as a raw gem, mysterious, unspoiled, and truly worth cherishing. Russia, majestic nature and a deep soul. Geography and nature, where Earth meets the horizon. Few countries require you to adjust your watch 11 times when traveling from east to west. But Russia does, because it isn't just a country. It's a vast continent cloaked in overwhelming natural beauty. Covering nearly 1/9 of the Earth's land surface, Russia is a living testament to the grandeur of nature, where humans are not conquerors, but silent observers who bow in reverence. From Lake Baikal, considered the world's deepest and purest freshwater lake, to the fiery Kamchatka Peninsula with its dozens of active volcanoes, Russia's landscapes humble all who witness them. Here, wild bears roam freely along salmon-rich streams. Pine forests stretch endlessly, and snow falls so thickly it feels as if time has stopped. Nature in Russia doesn't beckon. It challenges. It isn't gentle. It's fierce and raw. And perhaps because of that, it demands a deep, almost sacred respect, like standing before an ancient god. So tell us, would you dare take a selfie with a volcano or play hide-and-seek with a bear in Siberia? Spoiler, the bear always wins. The cities, where history and art share one roof. Beneath the white snow blanketing ancient archways and domes, Russia's major cities are more than administrative centers. They are living museums of culture. Moscow, the powerful heart of the nation, is where past and present meet in every red brick of Red Square, in the vibrant onion domes of St. Basil's Cathedral, and in the grandeur of the Kremlin, not just a seat of political power, but a symbol of centuries-old art and faith. St. Petersburg, in contrast, is like a romantic symphony composed of light and water. Often dubbed the Venice of the North, this city glistens with winding canals, historic bridges, and majestic European architecture. During the white nights, when the sun refuses to fully set, everything turns surreal. Time seems suspended, and ballet, symphonies, and paintings appear to merge into the very air you breathe. Russia doesn't just build cities to live in. It builds them to contemplate, to tell stories, to record the heartbeat of history through stone, canvas, and song. The Russian soul, beyond words and reason. Russians are often described as quiet, reserved, even a bit cold. But that's only the outer shell, one that only the patient can peel back. When a smile does emerge, rare though it may be, it carries a warmth that feels almost sacred. It's not the cheerful politeness of small talk, but a distilled expression of trust and heartfelt sincerity. The Russian soul cannot be grasped by reason, because it is too complex, too layered, too contradictory. It's a place where emotions wrestle with ideals, where poets turn sorrow into a cherished possession, and where vodka is poured not just to get drunk, but to bond. Russia doesn't open like a door. It unfolds like a labyrinth of emotion, where one must enter with intuition and heart. You don't understand Russia. You feel it. You touch each fleeting moment. You listen to the silences between them, and let yourself be carried along like a traveler drifting into a land of legends. Are you ready to get lost in the most beautiful emotional maze you've ever entered? Just bring a notebook, and maybe a shot of vodka. Russian women: grace, tradition, and inner strength. In the vast, frigid, and majestic landscape of Russia, women are not merely background figures. They are the red thread that connects past to present, living symbols of endurance and cultural identity. The beauty of Russian women does not lie in exhibition, but in their quiet depth and their ability to preserve unspoken values. You may find them in many forms: a graceful young woman walking along Nevsky Prospect in a traditional silk headscarf, a ballerina standing alone in the spotlight of the Bolshoi stage, or a mother tending the hearth of a wooden home in Siberia's frost. Regardless of the setting, they exude a beauty rooted in self-possession and resolve, not loud, but unmistakable. Russian women embody both a love for the arts and a spirit of sacrifice, yet they never lose themselves in the modern whirlwind. They raise children with Pushkin's poetry, run businesses, conduct scientific research, and teach in prestigious art academies. Within them is a coexistence of tradition and progress, emotional depth and steely determination. They don't seek validation through words, but through action, through how they live, how they love and protect, and how they leave a mark in even the smallest of things. In this way, the Russian woman is not just a symbol of beauty, but the very soul of Russia. Modern Russia: tradition driving innovation. Russia does not drift aimlessly in the glory of its past. While names like Tolstoy and Tchaikovsky are still revered, the country is simultaneously writing new chapters in science, contemporary art, and advanced technology. What makes Russia truly unique is its ability to anchor itself in deep-rooted culture while reaching boldly toward a future shaped by creativity. In major cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, steel-glass skyscrapers rise beside centuries-old cathedrals. Modernity does not erase history. It complements it and engages in dialogue. AI hubs, nanotech labs, and cutting-edge medical institutes do more than keep Russia globally relevant. They reflect a fierce intellectual drive that remains inseparable from cultural heritage. A young artist might use blockchain to protect NFT paintings inspired by Altai folk songs. A Russian architect might design futuristic space modules that incorporate patterns from Caucasus carpets. The new does not replace the old. It grows from it, turning cultural depth into meaningful expression. In modern Russia, science and art walk hand in hand, building a society that is both pragmatic and poetic. Robots assist in surgery, but they might also perform ballet and tech showcases. This is today's Russia, constantly evolving, yet always carrying the memory of 1,000 years. Russian cuisine, where every meal connects souls. Russian cuisine may not flaunt the elegance of French haute cuisine or the technical precision of Japanese food, but it offers something no other culinary tradition does: the warmth of family, the soulful simplicity, and a profound intergenerational connection. A Russian meal is never just about filling the stomach. It's a time for family gatherings, heartfelt conversations, and the reliving of memories through every dish. Borscht, deep red beet soup, is slow-cooked in large pots, flavored not just with ingredients, but with care. It's a winter dish, a mother's dish, a grandmother's dish, a warmth that travels from throat to heart. Pelmeni, small meat dumplings, are handmade one by one. On winter nights, families knead dough together, fold dumplings, and talk. Each pelmeni becomes an invisible thread tying generations. It fills more than the belly. It fills the home with connection. Then there's blini, thin crepes like the light of spring, symbolizing renewal. During Maslenitsa week, they're made with all kinds of fillings, served with honey, sour cream, or red caviar, not just for taste, but to celebrate life, light, and the indomitable Russian spirit. Russians don't eat in a rush. They raise vodka glasses slowly, retell old tales, sing folk songs, and share quiet glances through steam rising from warm dishes. In these moments, the dining table becomes a place of healing, understanding, and unspoken love. Harmonious Contrasts, when tension defines culture. Togo and Russia, two countries at opposite ends of geography, history, and scale, may seem to have nothing in common. But if one pauses long enough to look deeper, a striking similarity emerges. Both express their beauty through contrasts that seem impossible to reconcile. Togo is a small nation where wild, untamed nature still dominates much of the landscape. Yet within this raw backdrop, tradition is proudly preserved, and modern elements are beginning to bloom, not to replace the old, but to blend with it. The coexistence of ancient coming-of-age rituals and new vocational centers, of earthen homes and digital classrooms, reveals a Togo that grows not in spite of its roots, but because of them. On the opposite end, Russia is a land of immense scale and historical power. But within this grandeur lies a deep dreaminess, sometimes melancholic, sometimes silent. You might step out of a Moscow metro station designed like a palace and find an elderly man quietly feeding pigeons in the snow, and both scenes are equally and authentically Russian. Here, the old doesn't fade under the flood of technology, it lives alongside it, creating a rare balance. Togo and Russia, two worlds apart, stand as proof that harmony doesn't come from choosing one side, but from the ability to let many identities coexist and illuminate one another. Which contrast speaks to you more, the quiet depth of Russia or the wild soul of Togo? People, the nation's soul in every smile and glance. In every journey, it's the landscapes that make you stop, but it's the people who make you stay or return. Togo and Russia, with their distinct identities, leave lasting impressions not only through their culture or geography, but through the individuals you encounter, even briefly. In Togo, it might be the woman carrying water from the village stream, smiling kindly despite life's hardships, or children paddling across the river on bamboo rafts, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, or the village elder recounting ancestral legends during a festival in the dry season. These people, with their simple rhythms of life and wordless hospitality, make Togo feel more like an open home than a tourist destination. In Russia, people form a world of depth. They may not smile often, but when they do, when they shake your hand, share a story, or welcome you to their table, that moment becomes an unforgettable memory. Russians live from the inside out, with slow, steady emotions like their long winters, which always end in a spring full of light. Regardless of nation, race, or religion, people are the true bridge between cultures. They don't represent governments or official histories. They are the truest voices of a country. They are the soul. Without them, all beauty would remain just a silent image. Cuisine is culture, when flavors tell a story. Cuisine is a language that needs no translation. No matter where you're from, just sit down and share a local dish, and you've already stepped one foot into the emotional world of a culture. Togo and Russia, despite their differences in ingredients, climate, and culinary customs, share a profound philosophy. Food is where memory, emotion, and identity live on. In Togo, every meal is a balance of land and sea, of a woman's skilled hands and the sun-soaked intensity of West Africa. Hand-pounded fufu, soft, chewy, deeply traditional, is a must during family gatherings. Peanut sauce, fragrant dried fish, and dense maize akume are all made from humble ingredients but reflect a way of life, simple, intimate, and deeply connected. In Russia, a meal feels like a quiet ritual. Borscht, deep red beet soup, is always made grandmother's style. Each version slightly different, yet always filled with care. Pelmeni are shaped together, each dumpling a symbol of intergenerational ties. Blini, thin and warm like spring sunlight, are eaten during Maslenitsa week to greet spring and bid farewell to winter. Russian meals are a blend of feeling, tradition, and the art of everyday life. From family dinners to festive feasts, food becomes a living cultural heritage, a place where people can touch the depth of identity through flavor. It's not just about eating. It's about understanding, connecting, and experiencing a nation with all your senses. Togo and Russia, Two vastly different worlds, yet both preserve the soul of their nations through people, cuisine, and cultural depth. Whether you're drawn to Togo's raw beauty or Russia's enigmatic charm, each journey offers a fresh perspective on the world. So, where would you choose to begin your adventure? Share your thoughts with us.